Hello, I wanted to thank you for your subscription. And what better way for me to thank you than to read this entire Wikipedia article about cheese? Because everyone loves cheese, as evident by how long this Wikipedia article is. Let's get started. Cheese is a dairy product produced in a range of flavors, textures, and forms by coagulation of the milk protein casein. It comprises proteins and fat from milk, usually the milk of cows, buffalo, goats, or sheep. And they just showed the sheep's behind for that, while cows, buffalo, and goats all got a nice headshot. They just showed a group of behinds for the sheep. During production, milk is usually acidified, and either the enzymes of rennet or bacterial enzymes with similar activity are added to cause the casein to coagulate. The solid curds, and that is just the same picture, are then separated from the liquid whey and pressed into finished cheese. Some cheeses have aromatic molds on the rind, the outer layer, or throughout. Over 1,000 types of cheese exist. I didn't know it was that many, but okay. They are produced in various countries. Their styles, textures, and flavors depend on the origin of the milk, including the animal's diet, whether they have been pasteurized, the butter fat content, the bacteria and mold, the processing, and how long they have been aged. Herbs, spices, or wood smoke may be used as flavoring agents. The yellow to red color of many cheeses is produced by adding annatto. Other added ingredients may include black pepper, garlic, chives, or cranberries. I don't know why they didn't include a picture of garlic. A cheesemonger or specialist seller of cheeses may have expertise when selecting, purchasing, receiving, storing, and ripening cheeses. For a few cheeses, the milk is curdled, and the same picture a third time, by adding acids such as vinegar or lemon juice. Most cheeses are acidified to a lesser degree by bacteria, which turn milk sugars into lactic acid. Then the addition of rennet completes the curdling. Vegetarian alternatives to rennet are available. Most are produced by fermentation of the fungus Mucormaceae, but others have been extracted from various species of the Cinera thistle family. Cheesemakers near a dairy region may benefit from fresher, lower-priced milk and lower shipping costs. Cheese is valued for its portability, long shelf life, and high content of fat, protein, calcium, and phosphorus. I have never valued cheese for phosphorus, but that's what it says. Cheese is more compact and has a longer shelf life than milk, although how long a cheese will keep depends on the type of cheese. Hard cheeses, such as Parmesan, last longer than soft cheeses such as Brie or goat's milk cheese. The long storage life of some cheeses, especially when encased in a protective rind, allows selling when markets are favorable. Vacuum packaging of block-shaped cheeses and gas flushing, known as sparging, of plastic bags with mixtures of carbon dioxide and nitrogen are used for storage and mass distribution of cheeses in the 21st century. And we have a nice picture of a platter with cheese and some garnishes. And cheeses and art. Still life with cheeses, almonds and pretzels. And Clara Peters, who I was hoping was a person, based off of this. Etymology. I hope I said that right. The word cheese comes from Latin causus? Casus. I'm going to say casus. From which the modern word casein is also derived, so it's probably casus. The earliest source is from the Proto-Indo-European root quat, okay, sure, which means to ferment, become sour. That gave rise to cis or ses in Old English and ches in Middle English. Similar words are shared by other Western Germanic languages. West Frisian? Ceases? How are you supposed to pronounce these words? Dutch Kaas, German case or casse, I'm guessing, although that sounds more French. Old High German, chasse, all from the Reconstruction West Germanic form Kasi. I'm gonna go with like the cereal Kasi, which in turn is an early borrowing from Latin. The online the online dictionary states that cheese comes from Old English "cis", West Saxon "cis", Angelaean, from West Germanic "cosgis". Oh Lord. Source also of Old Saxon "cassi", Old High German "chassis", German "casse", Middle Dutch "case", Dutch "cas", from Latin "cautious", I'm guessing cautious, for cheese. Source of Italian Casio, like the watch, Spanish queso, Irish casse, Welsh cos. The online etymological dictionary states that the word is of unknown origin. Then what was all of this that I just had to suffer through? Perhaps from a pie root, quat, to ferment, become sour. Source also of paracrit, chassis, buttermilk, Old Church Salvinic, Nasu? Is the K silent? Or Cavasu? Leaven, fermented drink, Klesu sour, Gieste? Kesete? To turn sour, Chets Kasi, Cassity? Kisiti. I don't know. I don't know. Who am I kidding? To turn sour rot, Sanskrit kavati, boil seethes. Whoever is listening to me mispronounce all of these words, they gotta be boiling and seething. Gothic, whatever this word is, foam, Also compare fromage, Old Norse Oster, exit song, outro, Danish outros, Swedish outros, and are related to Latin isis, broth, sauce, juice. When the Romans began to make hard cheeses for their legionnaires' supplies, a new word started to be used, formaticum, from casus formatus, or molded cheese as in formed, not moldy. So formatus. Okay, formatus, casus formatus. Okay. It is from this word that French fromage, Standard Italian formaggio, Catalan formatage, Breton, I didn't know Skyrim was a part of this, formage, and octation? Formage? I mean, they only added a T, but I'm guessing it's silent. Or apparently not, since they put in the same word, but slightly sideways. It's the same spelling, formage, are derived of Romance languages, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, Tuscan, and some southern Italian dialects use words derived from cautious, queso, cuejo, has, Casio, and caso, for example. The word cheese itself is occasionally employed in a sense that it means molded or formed. Head cheese? What? Oh, that kind of head cheese. Like hog head cheese. Y'all don't want to eat that. Uses the word in this sense. The term cheese is also used as a noun, verb, and adjective in a number of figurative expressions. There is no picture for this. Example, the big cheese, to be cheesed off, and cheesy lyrics. And we have a picture of various hard cheeses, and if I could go back to head cheese, the reason that I don't recommend it is essentially the head of the animal just smashed into cheese. They just added that into cheese, the entire thing. I don't recommend it. History of cheese. Origins. Cheese is an ancient food whose origins predate recorded history. So are there tablets with cheese? Like, are there tablets of cheese with words carved in them? There is no conclusive evidence indicating where cheese making originated, whether in Europe, Central Asia, or the Middle East. The earliest proposed dates for the origin of cheese making range from around 8000 BCE, when sheep were first domesticated. Since animal skins and inflated internal organs have since ancient time provided storage vessels for a range of foodstuffs, it is probable that the process of cheese making was discovered accidentally by storing milk in a container made from the stomach of an animal, resulting in the milk being turned into curd. They love that picture, and whey. This is the second time, so it gets a pass. By the rennet from the stomach. There is a legend. I love the picture they used for the legend of cheese, with variations about the discovery of cheese by an Arab trader who used this method of storing milk. The earliest evidence of cheese making in the archaeological record dates back to 5500 BCE and is found in what is now Kujawa, Poland, where strainers coated with milk fat molecules have been found. Cheese making may have begun independently of this by the pressing and salting of curdled milk to preserve it. Observation that the effect of making cheese in an animal's stomach gave more solid and better textured curds may have led to the deliberate addition of rennet. Early archaeological evidence of Egyptian cheese, ancient Egyptian cheese, you say, have been found in Egyptian tomb murals dating to around 2000 BCE. A 2018 scientific paper stated that the world's oldest cheese, dating to approximately 1200 BCE, 3200 years before present, was found in ancient Egyptian tombs. The earliest cheeses were likely sour and salty, similar in texture to rustic cottage cheese or feta. A crumbly, flavorful cheese. Flavorful? Why am I mispronouncing words all of a sudden? And I noticed that I skipped the word quite over here, but it was too late. Flavorful Greek cheese. Cheese produced in Europe, where climates are cooler than the Middle East, required less salt for preservation. With less salt and acidity, cheese became a suitable environment for useful microbes and molds, giving aged cheese their respective flavors. The earliest ever discovered preserved cheese was found in a Taklamakan desert in Xiang, China, dating back as early as 1615 BCE, 3600 years before present. And we have a nice picture of a piece of soft curd cheese, oven baked to increase shelf life. Ancient Greek and Rome. Ancient Greek mythology credited I'm gonna have to blur that. Arshosis credited this marble statue of a guy that I have to blur with the discovery of cheese. Homer's Odyssey, 8th century BCE, describes the Cyclops making and storing sheep's and goat's milk cheese. Translation by Samuel Butler. We soon reached his cave, but he was out shepherding, so we went inside and took stock of all that we could see. His cheese racks were loaded with cheeses, and he had more lambs and kids than his pens could hold. When he had so done, he sat down and milked his ewes and goats, and in all due course, and then let each of them have her own young. He curdled half the milk and set it aside in wicker strainers. I'm starting to mispronounce things. Let me take a sip of water. Okay, that's better. Calamellas? De re rustica, circa 65 CE, details a cheese-making process involving rennet coagulation, pressing of the curd, salting, and aging. According to Pliny the Elder, it had become a sophisticated enterprise by the time the Roman Empire came into being. Penny? It would be funny if this would be pronounced penny, but it has an L in it. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. Pliny the Elder also mentions in his writings casus Helveticus, a hard Sabrines-like cheese produced by the Helvetii. Cheese was an everyday food, and cheese making a mature art in the Roman Empire. Pliny's Natural History, 77 CE, devotes a chapter, 997, to describing the diversity of cheeses enjoyed by Romans in the early empire. He stated that the best cheeses came from the villages near Nims? Nims or Nimes, but did not keep long and had to be eaten fresh. Cheeses of the Alps and the Alpines were as remarkable for their variety then as now. A Ligurian cheese was noted for being made mostly from sheep's milk, and from some cheeses produced nearby were stabled to weigh as much as 1,000 pounds each. Goat's milk cheese was a recent taste in Rome, improved over the medicinal taste of Gauls, similar cheeses made by smoking. Of cheeses from overseas, Pliny preferred those of Bithynia in Asia Minor. And we have a picture of cheese in a marketplace in Italy. Post-Roman Empire. Post-Roman Europe. As Romanized populations encountered unfamiliar, newly settled neighbors bringing their own cheese-making traditions, their own flocks, and their own unrelated words for cheeses in Europe diversified further, with various locales developing their own distinctive traditions and products. The advancement of cheese art in Europe was slow during the centuries after Rome's fall. As long-distance trade collapsed, only travelers would encounter unfamiliar cheeses. Charlemagne's first encounter with a white cheese that had an edible rind forms one of the constructed antidotes of Noteker's Life of the Emperor. In 1022, it is mentioned that Vlach Eromanin, I don't know why they specified his ethnicity, shepherds from Thalassy and the Pindus Mountains in modern Greece provided cheese for Canstalethapi. Many cheeses popular today were first recorded in the late Middle Ages or after. Cheeses such as cheddar around 1500, Parmesan in 1597, Gouda in 1697, and Camembert in 1791 show post-Middle Ages dates. In 1546, the Proverbs of John Haywood claimed the mood is made of green cheese. Green may refer here not to the color as many now think, but to being new or unaged. Variations of this sentiment were long repeated, and NASA exploited this myth for an April Fool's Day spoof announcement in 2006. That's nice. And we have a picture of cheese, Talicum centennis? Casanatasis, 14th century. And it's got a dog. Until its modern spread along with European culture, cheese was nearly unheard of in East Asian cultures and in pre-Columbian Americas, and had only limited use in sub-Mediterranean Africa, mainly being widespread and only popular in Europe, the Middle East, and Indian subcontinent, and areas influenced by these cultures. But with the spread, first of European imperialism and later of Euro-American culture and food, cheese has gradually become known and increasingly popular worldwide. The first factory for the industrial production of cheese opened in Switzerland in 1815, but large-scale production first found real success in the United States. Credit usually goes to Jesse Williams, a dairy farmer from Rome, New York, who in 1851 started making cheese in an assembly line fashion using the milk from neighboring farms. This made cheddar cheese one of the first U.S. industrial foods. Within decades, hundreds of such commercial dairy associations existed. In the 1860s, saw the beginnings of mass-produced rennet, and by the turn of the century, scientists were producing pure microbial cultures. Before then, bacteria in cheese making had come from the environment or by recycling an earlier batch's whey. The pure cultures meant a more standardized cheese could be produced. Factory-made cheese overtook traditional cheese making in the World War II era, and factories have been the source of the most cheese in America and Europe ever since. By 2012, cheese was one of the most shoplifted items from supermarkets worldwide. Really? Oh my God. People love cheese. Cheese display in grocery store, Cambridge, Massachusetts, United States. Ain't it beautiful? Production. In 2014, world production of cheese from whole cow milk was 18.7 million tons, with the United States accounting for 29%, 5.4 million tons of the world total, followed by Germany, France, and Italy as major producers. Table. Oh, all of these show information too. I forgot. World production of cheese. Yeah, that is not a picture though. So, in 2014, world totals for processed cheese include from skim cow milk, 2.4 million tons, leading country Germany, 845.500 tons. From goat milk, 523,040 tons, leading country South Sudan, 110,750 tons. From sheep milk, 680,302 tons, leading country Greece, 125,000 tons. From buffalo milk, why does buffalo the only one that gets a picture? From buffalo milk, 282,127 tons, leading country Egypt, 254,000 tons. That is a lot of cheese. During 2015, Germany, France, Netherlands, and Italy exported 10 to 14% of their produced cheese. The United States was a marginal exporter, 5.3% of total cow milk production, as most of its output was for the domestic market. Yeah, we do eat a lot of cheese. The carbon footprint of a kilogram of cheese ranges from 6 to 12 kilograms of CO2, depending on the amount of milk used. Thus, it is generally lower than beef or lamb, but higher than other foods. Consumption. France is the only one that gets the picture. Iceland, Finland, Denmark, and Germany were the highest consumers of cheese in 2014, averaging 25 kilograms, 55 pounds, per person per annum, per year. That's... Okay, yeah, they're in league with me then. Okay. Yeah, I eat about like 6 or 7 pounds. And then the top cheese producers, in numbers of million tons, the European Union in first place with 9.83 tons, the United States with 6.16 tons, Germany with 2.56 tons, France with 1.61 tons, Italy with 1.3 tons, the Netherlands with 0.95 tons, Poland with 0.77 tons, Canada with 0.6 tons, Egypt with 0.53 tons, and Russia with 0.48 tons, a world total of 23.3 million tons. Source? Food and Agriculture Source: the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. I need another sip of water. Ah, that water was delicious. Curdling. Curdling. A required step in cheese making is separating the milk into solid curds and whey. This is the 5th time I want to say, and this is the 3rd time for this one. Usually is done by acidifying, souring. I really like this picture. The milk and adding rennet. Again, this picture's multiple times. The acidification can be accomplished directly by the addition of acid, such as vinegar, and in few cases, paneer, queso fresco. More commonly, starter bacteria are employed instead, which convert milk sugars into lactic acid. These same bacteria and the enzymes they produce also play a large role in the eventual flavor of aged cheeses. Most cheeses are made with the starter bacteria from the lactococcus, lactobacillus, or streptococcus. Genera. Swiss starter cultures also include what? Propionbacter Shermani. How do you come up with these names? Which produces propionic acid and carbon dioxide gas bubbles during aging, giving Swiss cheese, or Emmental, its holes called eyes. So wait, I thought that. So that's natural. Okay, learn something new. Some fresh cheeses are curdled only by acidity, but most cheeses also use rennet. Rennet sets the cheese into a strong and rubbery gel. Ugh. Compared to the fragile curds produced by acidic coagulation alone, it also allows curdling at a lower acidity. Important because flavor-making bacteria are inhibited in high acidity environments. In general, softer, smaller, fresher cheeses are curdled with a greater proportion of acid to rennet than harder, larger, longer-aged varieties. So does that mean that higher acidity cheeses are less flavorful? Like they just don't have taste? While rennet was traditionally produced via extraction from the inner mucosa in the fourth stomach chamber of slaughtered young unweaned calves, most rennet used today in cheese making is produced recumbently. The majority of the applied chymosin is retained in the whey and at most may be present in cheese in trace quantities. In ripe cheese, the type and province of chymosin used in production cannot be determined. There are so many words that I don't know how to pronounce in this. During industrial production of Emmental cheese, and I cannot believe that I am pronouncing that right, even if I would hear someone else say it the same way that I am. The as yet undrained curd is broken by rotating mixtures. mixers. I am stumbling over so many words. Curd processing. At this point, the cheese has yet to set into a very moist gel. Some soft cheeses are now essentially complete. They are drained, salted, and packaged. For the most of the rest, the curd is cut into small cubes. This allows water to drain from the individual pieces of curd. Some hard cheeses are then heated to temperatures in the range of 35 to 55 degrees Celsius, 95 to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. This forces more whey from the cut curd. This also changes the taste of the finished cheese, affecting both the bacterial culture and the milk chemistry. Cheeses that are heated to higher temperatures are usually made with thermophilic starter bacteria that survive this step, either lactobacilli, or streptococci. Streptococci. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that one right. Salt has roles in cheese besides adding a salty flavor. It preserves cheese from spoiling, draws moisture from the curd, and firms cheese texture in an interaction with its proteins. Some cheeses are salted from the outside with dry salt. What would the alternative be? Or brine washes. Most cheeses have the salt mixed directly into the curds. Other techniques influence a cheese's texture and flavor. Some examples are stretching, mozzarella, and provolone. The curd is stretched and kneaded in hot water, developing a stringy, fibrous body. I guess that's how we get mozzarella sticks then. Cheddaring, cheddar, and other English cheeses, you know them off the top of your head. The cut curd is repeatedly piled up, pushing more moisture away. The curd is also mixed or milled for a long time, taking the sharp edges off the cut curd pieces and influencing the final product's texture. Washing. Edam, Gouda, Colby. The curd is washed in warm water, lowering its acidity and making for a milder tasting cheese. Most cheeses achieve their final shape when the curds are pressed into a mold or form. The harder the cheese, the more pressure is applied. The pressure drives out moisture. The molds are designed to allow water to escape and unifies the curds into a single body. A cheese factory in the Netherlands. This is a list of cheeses from or connected with the Netherlands. It almost looks like a donut shop, but it's just a bunch of wheels of cheese. Ripening. Main article, cheese ripening. I remember this from earlier. A newborn cheese is usually salty yet bland in flavor. For harder varieties, rubbery in texture. These qualities are sometimes enjoyed. Cheese curds are eaten on their own, but normally cheeses are left to rest under controlled conditions. This aging period, also called ripening, or from the French affinage, lasts from a few days to several years. As a cheese ages, microbes and enzymes transform the texture and intensity of the flavor. This transformation is largely a result of the breakdown in casein proteins and milk fat into a complex mix of amino acids, aminides, and fatty acids. Some cheeses have additional bacteria or molds intentionally introduced before and or during aging. In traditional cheese making, these microbes might already be present in the aging room. They are allowed to settle and grow on the store cheeses. For more often today, prepared cultures are used, giving more consistent results and putting fewer constraints on the environment where the cheese ages. The cheese includes soft ripened cheeses such as Brie and Camembert, blue cheeses such as Roquefort, Stilton, Gorgonzola, and rind-washed cheeses such as Limburger. Oh, what is it? What is the cheese on? Like, is this supposed to be bread? Parmigiano Reggiano in a modern factory. Let's look at the picture again. Okay, for a second there, I thought that this was a pumpkin. Let me drink some more water, because I'm looking at so many words that my eyes are starting to look at the next sentence above, and I'm saying those words instead of what's in the sentence that I'm trying to read. But some delicious water will help me with that. All better. Types of cheese. They really like this picture, but it's like it's just mold on the outside. I like cheese. I really do like cheese, but I'm not eating that part. Nobody is. There are many types of cheese with around 500 different varieties recognized by the International Dairy Federation. More than 400 identified by Walter and Hargrove, more than 500 by Burkhalter, and more than 1,000 by Sandine and Elliker. The varieties may be grouped or classified into types according to criteria such as length of aging, texture, methods of making, fat content, animal milk, country or region of origin, etc., with these criteria either being used singly or in combination, but with no single method of being universally used. The method most commonly and traditionally used is based on moisture content, which is then further discriminated by fat and content and curing or ripening methods. Well, that was very clear to read. I understand everything I've read so far. Some attempts have been made to rationalize the classification of cheese. A scheme was proposed by, I'm going to go with Peter Wallstra, which uses the primary and secondary starter combined with moisture content, and Walter and Grove suggested classifying by production methods, which produces 18 types, which are then further grouped by moisture content. So what decides what kind of cheese it is the moisture content, how dry it is? Huh? It mainly seems by how dry it is. Like, in addition to everything else, but it seemed like the most important thing is how much water's in it. That's what I got from that. The British Cheese Board claims that Britain has approximately 700 distinct local cheeses. France and Italy have perhaps 400 each. A French proverb holds that there is a different French cheese for every day of the year, and Charles de Gaulle was once asked, how can you govern a country in which there are 246 kinds of cheese? That sounds like a question that they were vetted for before asking in public. Like, what kind of question do you want to ask this man? Do you want to ask him about how high taxes are, the unemployment rate, or about cheese? Bavaria blue cheese, Breguier Alcamas Almakas cheese, Berkasi? This looks like is it Harvati cheese that I'm thinking of? Is that the name of it? This looks like the cheese that you would get sliced at a deli. Berkswell cheese. That just looks like a loaf of bread that looks like a bolo bread. Blue de Elizabeth. That looks like a piece of pie. Brie cheese. Brie de Nangus. Blue de Go. Camembert. What? Is this from Japan? Cha Chabicho. No, this got to be French. Chabito du Poto. Yeah, it is French. Chabicho. Chabicho de Poto. Cheddar cheese. Cor de Nafacelle. De Nafacelle. Comote. Devil's Gulch. It looks like an unfrosted cupcake, this one. This one looks like an unfrosted cupcake. Adam. Emmental. Ramé de Ambert. Gwire? Gruwire. Gwendolyn from Dark Souls. That's his favorite cheese. He was partially named after this cheese. Isle of Mole cheese. It looks like a wooden barrel, and then the picture they show just looks like a piece of yellow cheese that they just took all the yellow off of. Langres. This just looks like another cupcake. Macanago. Marioles cheese? Marioles cheese. Meteorite fromage. They took the burnt part of the pizza when you keep it in the oven too long, and they just coated the cheese with it. Mozzarella. Orkins Osterkron blue cheese. Osterkron blue cheese. Parmigiano Reggiano. Queso fresco. What? It's French. It's French. Reblanche? Reblanche. I'm gonna go with Reblanche. Red Hawk cheese. A simple name cheese. Of course, it has to be American. Thank you for that easy read. Ricotta. Rigotte de Rigotte de Conru? I don't know. Ruelli du Tarn. That looks like a moldy donut. That looks like a moldy donut. That Saint Julian Oxnor. This looks like what is that? The banana pudding with the Nutella wafers in it. It looks like a banana pudding. Sante Munar de Torin. Torin? What? Okay, they have a hole in it, which makes me think they have a hole in it, like they would have had it hanging like a kebab, and they just cut the pieces off the side, like the kebab vendors. That's nice. Saint Pierre cheese. That's it. It's Saint Pierre. It's named okay. Smoked Guavire. Wait, there's no V in it. Gruyere. I'm gonna go with Gruyere. Stilton cheese. Diverse. Sour milk and case sour cheese. Temptation du Workers. This looks like a nice freshly baked pie. Zachary cheese. Sheep milk cheese from Poland. I'm glad I don't have to read all 1,000 different variations of cheese. Like, I like cheese, but I don't think I'd be able to untie my tongue after saying all of them. Cooking and eating. At refrigerator temperatures, the fat in a piece of cheese is as hard as unsoftened butter, and its protein structure is stiff as well. Flavor and odor compounds are less easily liberated when cold. For improvements in flavor and texture, it is widely advised that cheeses be allowed to warm up to room temperature before eating. If the cheese is further warmed to 26 to 32 degrees Celsius or 79 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the fats will begin to sweat out as they go beyond soft to fully liquid. Above room temperatures, most hard cheeses will melt. Rennet curdle cheeses have a gel-like protein matrix that is broken down by heat. When enough protein bonds are broken, the cheese itself turns from a solid to a viscous liquid. Soft, high-moisture cheeses will melt at around 55 degrees Celsius or 131 degrees Fahrenheit, while hard, low-moisture cheeses, such as Parmesan, will remain solid until they reach about 82 degrees Celsius or 180 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the already melted nacho cheese then not cheese? Do they just call it nacho cheese to get around saying that it's not actually cheese, like legally cheese? Because according to this, the cheese shouldn't melt. It shouldn't be liquid. Or am I reading this wrong? Acid set cheeses, including another word I haven't seen before, halamoy, paneer, and some whey cheeses, and many varieties of fresh goat cheese, have a protein structure that remains intact at high temperatures. When cooked, these cheeses just get firmer as water evaporates. Some cheeses, like, why do they keep adding new cheeses? Racelet, melt smoothly. Many tend to become stringy or puffier from a separation of their fats. Many of these can be coaxed into melting smoothly in the presence of acids or starch. Fondue with wine providing the acidity is a good example of a smoothly melted cheese dish. Elastic stringiness is a quality that is sometimes enjoyed in dishes including pizza and Welsh rarebit. So it's just a cheese pizza but without the tomato sauce. Okay. Even a melted cheese eventually turns solid again. After enough moisture is cooked off, the saying "you can't melt cheese twice," meaning some things can only be done once, refers to the fact that oil leaches out during the first melting and is gone, leaving the non-meltable solids behind. As its temperatures continue to rise, cheese will brown. Why they use a picture of an apple for this? And eventually burn. Browned, partially burned cheese has a particular distinct flavor of its own and is frequently used in cooking. Example, sprinkling atop items before baking them. Saganaki. Lit on a fire, served in Chicago. There was something I wanted to say about, oh yeah, it was this. I've never heard of this phrase before until reading it here. You can't melt cheese twice. That must be in a book, like Sun Tzu's book of war. You can't. Some things can only be done once. Don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Cheese board. Also see cheese and crackers. Cheese plate redirects here. For dishware, see plate. A cheese board or cheese course may be served at the end of a meal, before or following dessert, or replacing the last course. More food after food. That's lovely. Of course, instead of dessert, I would rather have cheese. That is not sarcasm. That is fact. The British tradition is to have cheese after dessert, accompanied by sweet wines like port. In France, cheese is consumed before dessert, with robust red wine. The cheese board typically has contrasting cheeses with accompaniments such as crackers, biscuits, grapes, nuts, celery, or chutney? Chutney? Huh? It's just a dipping sauce, okay. A typical cheese board may contain 4 to 6 cheeses. For example, mature cheddar, or Comté, hard cow's milk cheeses, brie or camembert, soft cow's milk, a blue cheese such as Stilton, hard cow milk, Roquefort, medium ewe's milk, or bleu d'Avranches, medium soft cow's milk, a soft medium goat cheese's milk. Why they didn't have milk? Why did I say milk? Example: Saint Maureen Torkenig, the panties gone. What? The panties gone. Okay. Crochin de Chavanogol. I had to pause for a second because I wanted to make sure that I was reading this right, but I can't imagine any other way that it would be pronounced, so I'm just gonna say that I pronounced it right. A cheese board 70 feet, 21 meters long, was used to feature the variety of cheeses manufactured in Wisconsin, whereas the state legislature recognizes a cheese head hat as a state symbol. So that's where it comes from. Also, why isn't that a piece of cheese? Various cheeses on a cheese board served with wine. Lovely. Nutrition and health. The nutritional value of cheese varies widely. Cottage cheese may consist of 4% milk fat and 11% protein, while some whey cheeses are 15% fat and 11% protein, and triple cream cheeses are 36% fat and 7% protein. That is a high fat content. I don't know why it scrolled up. I just wanted to highlight that. In general, cheese is a rich source, 20% or more of the daily value of calcium, protein, phosphorus, sodium, and saturated fat. A 28-gram, 1-ounce serving of cheddar cheese contains about 7 grams, or 0.25 ounces, of protein and 202 milligrams of calcium. Nutritionally, cheese is essentially concentrated milk, but altered by culturing the aging process. It takes about 200 grams, 7.1 ounces of milk to provide that much protein, and 150 grams, 5.3 ounces, to equal the calcium, through values of water-soluble vitamins and minerals can vary widely. That's what I meant to say. Macronutrient content for common cheeses, grams per 100 grams. Swiss, 31.1, 26.9, 27.8, 5.4. Feta, 55.2, 14.2, 21.3, 4.1. Cheddar, 30.8, 24.9, 33.1, 3.3. 1.3. That's what I meant to say. Sorry about that. That was the me that read it wrong. Don't listen to him. Mozzarella, 50, 22.2, 22.4, and 2.2. Cottage, 80, 11.1, 4.3, and 3.4. Looking at all of them, it seems as though the lowest calorie option that you would have would be mozzarella. At least if you look at feta. Maybe feta. I prefer mozzarella though. Vitamin content of common cheeses. Daily value per 100 grams. Swiss, 17, 4, 17, 0, 4, 4, 1, 56, 0, 11, 2, 3. Feta, 8, 10, 55, 10, 21, 8, 28, 0, 0, 1, 2. Cheddar, 22, 22, 0, 4, 4, 5, 14, 0, 3, 1, 3. Mozzarella 14 to 17. I meant to say. Don't listen to me that said it wrong. 1 1 2 2 38 0013. Cottage 32106237000000. Mineral content of common cheeses, daily value percentage per 100 grams. Swiss 2.8, 79, 10, 1, 57, 2, 8, 29, 20, 26. Feta 2.2, 49, 4, 5, 34, 2, 46, 19, 2, 1, 21. Cheddar 3, 72, 4, 7, 51, 3, 26, 21, 2, 1, 20. Mozzarella 2.8, 51, 2, 5, 35, 2, 26, 19, 1, 1, 24. Cottage 3.38, 0, 2, 16, 3, 15, 3, 1, 0, 14. If you were wondering why I read all those numbers, it's because I thought it'd be funny instead of moving on to the next words. I'm gonna drink some water now. Nutrient data from self.com, abbreviation CL. What? Choline? Ca calcium, Fe iron, Mg magnesium, P phosphorus, K potassium, Na sodium, Zn zinc, Cu copper, Mn manganese, Se selenium. Well, that makes reading this a whole lot easier. Thank you for that. Cardiovascular disease. National health organizations such as the National Heart Association, Association of UK Dietitians, British National Health Service, and Mayo Clinic, among others, recommended that cheese consumption be minimized. Minimized? What do you mean by that? Replaced in snacks and meals by plant foods or restricted to low-fat cheeses to reduce caloric intake and blood levels of LDL fat, which is a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. There is no high-quality clinical evidence that cheese consumption lowers the risk of cardiovascular diseases. And what? Okay, it doesn't lower the risk, but you say that it increases it because of it increases this, but okay. Okay, then. Pasteurization. A number of food safety agencies around the world have warned of the risk of raw milk cheeses. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration states that soft raw milk cheeses can cause serious infectious diseases including listeriosis, brucellosis, salmonellosis, or tuberculosis. It is U.S. law since 1944 that all raw milk cheeses, including imports since 1951, must be aged at least 60 days. Australia has a wide ban on raw milk cheeses as well. In recent years, exceptions have been made for Swiss Gruyere, Emmental, and Spritz, I guess, and for French Roquefort. There is a trend for cheeses to be pasteurized even when not required by law. Pregnant women may face additional risk from cheese. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control has warned pregnant women against eating soft-ripened cheeses and blue vein cheeses due to listeria risk, which can cause miscarriage or harm the fetus. Well, it is made of mold. Cheese is kind of made of mold. So I imagine having something raw added to that would kind of, make you sick. Cultural attitudes. Although cheese is a vital source of nutrition in many regions of the world, it is extensively consumed in others. Its use is not universal. Cheese is rarely found in Southeast and Eastern Asian cuisines, presumably for historical reasons, as dairy farming has historically been rare in these regions. due in part to the low risk of lactose persistence. Paneer, pronounced however you would pronounce it from that. I've been pronouncing it paneer. I hope that's right. I don't know how you say an upside down E or this or that. How would you pronounce that? But okay. Is a fresh cheese common in North India and Pakistan. It is an unaged, non-melting soft cheese made by curdling milk with a fruit or vegetable-derived acid such as lemon juice. Its acid-set form cheese curd before pressing is called chenna. In Nepal, the Dairy Development Corporation commercially manufactures cheese made from yak milk. What a nice... Again, he gets a nice headshot. They just showed the sheep's behind for the other one. He gets a nice picture too. Okay. And a hard cheese made from either cow or yak milk known as chirpy. I'm guessing these French breads are pronounced chirpy. Bhutan. Wait, why is... Oh, okay, I skipped the line. Bhutan, I was wondering why this skipped over here, also produces a similar cheese called dachi. Dachi? I'm guessing dachi. Which is a staple in most Bhutanese curries. The national dish of Bhutan, imadashi, is made from homemade yak or mare milk. You could have included the face. You kind of cut off the face there. Yeah. Or mare milk cheese and peppers. In Yunnan, China, several ethnic minority groups produce Rushan and Rubing from cow's milk. Oh, that looks pretty nice. This looks nice. That's a meal on its own. Cheese consumption may be increasing in China, with annual sales doubling from 1996 to 2020 to 2003. Don't listen to me that's wrong, guys. Only listen to me that talks like this, okay? To a still small 30 million US dollars a year. Certain kinds of cheese, why did that pop back up? Certain kinds of Chinese preserved bean curd, or sometimes misleadingly referred to in English as Chinese cheese because of their texture and strong flavor. Strict followers of the dietary laws of Islam and Judaism must avoid cheeses made with rennet from animals not slaughtered in a manner adhering to halal or kosher laws. Both faiths allow cheese made with vegetable-based rennet or with rennet made from animals that were processed in a halal or kosher manner. Many less Orthodox Jews also believe that rennet undergoes enough processing to change its nature entirely and do not consider it to ever violate kosher law. See cheese and kashrut and kashrut. As cheese is a dairy food, under kosher rules, it cannot be eaten in the same meal with any meat. Rennet derived from animal slaughter, and thus cheese made with animal-derived rennet, is not vegetarian. Most widely available vegan cheeses are made with rennet, produced by fermentation of the fungus, this word again, mucor mehe. Vegans and other dairy-avoiding vegetarians do not eat conventional cheese, but some vegetable-based cheese substitutes. That looks like the fake display cheese. That looks like the display cheese that they use to say that's what it's supposed to look like. Soy or almond is used as substitutes. Collecting cheese labels is called tyrosmophilia. Tyrosmophilia. And this is a cheese market and a cheese merchant in a French market, and a traditional Polish sheep's cheese. That can't be good for you. It's covered in mold, guys. I know cheese is mold, and I love cheese, but you kind of hurting you kind of hurting the people that want to get into eating cheese if it's just covered in mold. Market in Zakopane, Poland. That's a beautiful picture. I like the mountains in it. Odorous cheeses. Even in cultures with long cheese traditions, consumers may perceive some cheeses that are especially pungent smelling. That's a nice way of selling they stank. Or mold-bearing varieties, such as Limburger or Roquefort, as unpalatable. This cheese that's covered in green mold. They're like, oh, it may be unpalatable. Such cheeses are an acquired taste. An acquired taste because they are processed using molds or biological cultures, allowing odor and flavor molecules to resemble those in rotten foods. That is a nice way of saying that. One author stated an aversion to the odor of decay has the obvious biological value of steering us away from possible food poisoning, so it is no wonder that an animal food that gives off whiffs of shoes and soil and the stable takes some getting used to. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's just that's it just takes some getting used to, guys, okay? Effects on sleep. There is some support from studies that dairy products can help with insomnia. Scientists have debated how cheese might affect sleep. An antithetical folk belief that cheese eaten close to bedtime can cause nightmares may have arisen from the Charles Dickens novella A Christmas Carol, in which Ebenezer Scrooge attributes his visions of Jacob Marley to the cheese he ate. I'm sure that's what it was. It wasn't because you were a Scrooge. The belief can also be found in folklore that predates this history. That predates this story. The theory has been disproven multiple times, although night cheese may cause vivid dreams or otherwise disrupt sleep due to its high saturated fat content, according to studies by British Cheese Board. Other studies may indicate that it actually makes people dream less. It's like, if you have trouble sleeping, I'm just saying this. I'm not saying that you should do it, but I eat cheese a lot, and I find that I sleep okay. Maybe cheese is the answer. Figurative expressions. In the 19th century, cheese was used as a figurative way of saying the proper thing. The proper thing. This usage comes from Urdu, cheese, a thing, and from Persian cheese, from Old Persian, say, which means something. The term cheese, in this sense, was picked up by colonial British India in 1818, and was also used in the sense of a big thing. For example, the expression, he's the real cheese. The expression big cheese was attested in use to 1914 to mean an important person. This is likely American English in origin. The expression to cut a big cheese was mean to look important. I don't think this. I don't know. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid it was referred to cut gas, but okay, like it was okay. Let's go with that. Is to look important. This figurative expression referred to the huge wheels of cheese displays by cheese retailers as a publicity stunt. The phrase "cut the cheese" also became American slurm, slurm, not future. It's not drinkable slurm from Futurama. Slang became an American slang, referring meaning to flatulate. Why do I keep mispronouncing things? The word cheese has also had the meaning of an ignorant, stupid person. That is the first time I've heard that. Let me drink some water. All of the words are starting to jumble together into one. Let's see. Other figurative meanings involve the word cheese used as a verb. To cheese is recording as meaning to stop what one is doing, run off. In 1812, this was thieves' slang. To be cheesed off means to be annoyed. The expression say cheese, in a photograph taking context, when the photographer wants the people to smile for the photo, which means smile, dates from the 1930s. The word was probably chosen because of the E encourages people to make a smile. The verb cheese was used as slang for be quiet in the early 19th century Britain. The fictional notion that the moon is made of green cheese as a type of ridiculous assertion is from the 1520s. The figurative expression to make cheeses is an 1830s phrase referring to schoolgirls who amuse themselves by wheeling rapidly so one's petticoats blew in a circle, then dropping down so that they came to rest inflated, resembling a wheel of cheese. Okay. In video game slang, to cheese it means to win a game by using a strategy that requires minimal skill and knowledge that exploits a glitch or flaw in the game design. That is everyone's favorite cheese right there. The adjective cheesy has two meanings. The first is literal and means cheese-like. This definition is attested to and from the late 14th century. Example, a cheesy substance oozed from the broken jar. In the late 19th century, medical writers used the term cheesy in a more literal sense to describe morbid substances found in tumors and decaying flesh, etc. Okay, I wish I didn't have to read that. The adjective also has a figurative sense, meaning cheap, inferior. This use is attested from 1896. Perhaps originally U.S. student slang. In the late 19th century, in British slang, cheesy meant fine, showy. This use is attested to in the 1850s in writing lyrics for pop music, rock music, or musical theater. Cheesy is a pejorative term, which means blatantly artificial. Why isn't country music listed on this? It's pop music, rock music, musical theater. You're gonna say that you're not gonna include country in this, okay? Okay, that's you. That is you. Also see Dutch cheese markets, lists of cheese dishes. Oh, I didn't click on the picture. Oh. They just have. Is this how the actual market is? Because it looks like they'd be judging the cheese, but that'd be nice if that's how it is. Cheese dishes. A list of cheese. List of dairy products. List of microorganisms used in food and beverage preparation. Sheep milk cheese. And then it has this thing where you can just listen to the entire article. Is that everything? Well, that's it. That's everything on cheese. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Goodbye.